Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at All-Out Avengers issue 4. This is a 2022 series from Marvel Comics, written by Derek Landy, pencils by Greg Land, Jay Leisten, inker, Frank Diamarta, colorist, VC's Cory Petit, letterer, cover by Greg Land and Frank Diamarta. Cover's good. I like that. It looks dynamic. It's still pin-up, but there's at least some action going on here. Don't get used to seeing Hawkeye in costume though. He mostly runs around in a torn-up costume and eventually in what looks like Tarzan apparel. So we open up with Black Widow about to fall into the Sarlacc pit and some bad guys on speeder bikes. But don't worry, things aren't quite as they seem. It turns out these creatures are Darl warriors and they only hunt every 3 years and they attack the Avengers. Apparently A.I.M has got the Scalpel working again, so they got stranded out here and the Avengers came out to help in their Quinjet. And they ended up getting stuck here and they have a limited time to escape the planet before they're stuck there. One of the A.I.M agents actually helps the Avengers. The others are pretty indifferent on the matter. They just want to get out of there and they'll use the Avengers to do it. So this time we've got Spider-Woman, Hawkeye, Captain Marvel, and Black Widow. And they're trying to figure out how to get off this planet. They have to remove some crystals from this device that was running a shield generator. They just ripped off a lot of Star Wars stuff for this one from the look of it. Meanwhile, there is this mystery woman that the narrator, who's still unknown, doesn't know who she is, and she's some sort of emissary for the big bad guy that we haven't seen yet. And she attacks Captain Marvel and apparently can hurt her pretty badly. So this is sort of a Galactus type herald, that kind of cosmic level. But of course the Avengers do put up a pretty good fight against this individual, and they do know that somebody is still messing with their memories. And now the premise is starting to run pretty thin, but then again, these are 20-page pamphlets from Marvel with lots of big panels. You're not really getting a full story here. This ends up being almost a backup story that could have been attached to another issue and made pretty much a regular comic book. But we do get a look at the bad guy finally. His outfit looks pretty cool. And we do learn that this strange woman is from the Cenarians. She was a Cenarian royal guard, but that doesn't mean anything if you've never heard of them. So just some new bad guy of some kind. But the fight scenes were really well done. The story is pretty interesting, even if it does feel like they ripped off part of A New Hope and Return of the Jedi to do it. Sarlacc pit thing was a bit excessive. That was so obviously ripped off of Star Wars that kind of hard to ignore. The stealing of the crystals from the generator to shut the generator down so they could escape, I could let that one go. That's a pretty common sci-fi thing, but the Sarlacc pit, really, right at the beginning of full page spread, come on. So I thought the story was fine. It was very action-packed. It was just short and it had a lot of big panels. That means it's not worth $4, especially on the garbage paper they're using for Marvel. So I'd say if you could find it for $1 or $2, yeah, then I'd be fine with recommending it. But beyond that, either wait to get the trade really cheap or just skip it. Because 20-page stories are not worth $4, especially not on the crappy paper they're using. So I would say get it cheap or just wait for the trade and find that used somewhere or at a significantly reduced price. Then it might be worth it. But the premise is really starting to run thin. They've got to get to the big bad guy because it's really losing steam with this whole thing of we know something's going on and we're being manipulated and we need to learn something from this adventure. It's getting kind of old. This probably would have been better off as a 4-issue limited series that they could have expanded on with like 32-page issues each. Then it might have been worth the cover price, but at $4 for a 20-page pamphlet, you're really not getting enough story with super large panels. It's just not happening, not at 20 pages each. So like I said, if you find it cheap, then I'd grab it. Beyond that, I would say pass. That'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, links are in the description to various support methods. And as always, we hope to see you on the next one.